come in and take your seat. We're just about to get started. On behalf of the Central Congregation, we just want to welcome everyone tonight for a special evening of video showing. Just to get started, we'd like to do so with a song. And the song that we'll use is song number 56, Bravely Press On, taken from 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 12. The theme for tonight's discussion centered around true worship triumphs in Malawi. To discuss that for us is Brother Goldstone, and we'll invite Brother Goldstone to the stage.
Greetings from the warm heart of Africa. And in a very special way, we can say greetings from the theocratic, warmest heart in Africa, Malawi. Brothers, when I left Malawi on the 3rd of March, just a few days ago, about 2 weeks ago, the brothers there loaded onto that plane the biggest and warmest hug, the biggest kiss to all of you here in the United States. And I'm so glad to pass this on to all of you right now. Please accept that. Malawi, what a country. What a place. Some visitors have described it as heaven on earth. But you know, many, many people who have watched with interest what has taken place for over 26 years have described it as fiery Gehenna on earth. There was a ruler there, Kamuzu Banda. He lies in his grave today. But for 26 years, this man, as we know, persecuted people. And the single target of his persecution was Jehovah's Witnesses. Why? Why did he single out Jehovah's Witnesses? What made Jehovah's people so special for Kamuzu Banda? Did he wipe them out? More importantly, did our brothers cave in under the pressure of that totalitarian ruler? What did they leave to grow? Why is true worship triumphing in Malawi today? Well, let me invite you to have a look at the first of two videos, which is entitled Triumph of True Religion in Malawi. And in these videos, if you listen very carefully, you'll notice that some of the individuals that are on these videos have been ones who have been persecuted for many, many years. Look out for the following features. Malawian people love to smile. That's point number one. Also, look at the beautiful features of the people themselves, because we love people. And just look how handsome the men are, how beautiful the women are. Look at their white teeth. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And a very interesting feature, which we're going to talk about later, is look how they love to use their hands. They have an expression in Chichewa which says, Chikondi chiri manja, which means love is in the hands. So notice how they use their hands on many occasions and how they communicate that love by what you see. True worship triumphs in Malawi.
fertile soil make it a very productive land. The people are happy, friendly. Many of them show a great interest in the land. In order to take care of this interest, the Watchtower Society established an office in 1934 to organize preaching work in Malawi. We started preaching work in 1935 when Brother McGrath came here. Then we were using a gramophone.
Because missionaries really, when they go into a place, they just need to contact a few children and the brothers, the local brothers, they get the increase.
It's all to help them do it. We're doing the work as he tells us to do it, and he brings the increase.
The man to whom Brother Bentley blessed the book, This Means Everlasting Life, was a drunkard. It was by surprise that on the first day we started the chapter, how long do you choose to live? Because he was well educated. So we started a Bible study with him up to the point that he came to know that he needed to make adjustment in his life so that he could live longer. Later on, he became a baptized witness up to the point of being appointed presiding overseer. Therefore, Brother Bentley sowed, I watered, and Jehovah made it grow. Sadly, in 1967, Jehovah's Witnesses were banned in Malawi. For the next 26 years, they endured great difficulties. Yet, they continued to serve Jehovah faithfully, despite being persecuted for their politically neutral stand. Serving a congregation as a sect overseer, a brother who was nearby me as I was washing my face, that brother was faced by the youth leaders who came, and they started beating him to the point that they killed him. I was expecting that they may also kill me, but they spoke to one another and said, this one does not come from this area, so you leave him. The sister who was pregnant, and the youth leaders came with their car and had to put the sister inside the boot, and they drove her over the roads of gravel, which was a very rough road, and she aborted, and then she also died. They took us to a certain room, then they locked us up there. Later on, came many young pioneers and League of Malawi youth members and started beating us up. All of us fell down at once, and they beat us up to their satisfaction. Because of such cruel treatment, many of our brothers fled to refugee camps in neighboring Mozambique. We were dismissed from work.
Our houses were confiscated, and then they told us to leave the country and go to our God. Fortunately, we sought refuge at Mangeni in Mozambique.
Staying in the refugee camp was the most difficult time because it was overcrowded. Mangeni refugee camp had the biggest figure of almost 10,000 Jehovah's Witnesses from Blanda, some from Cheo. It was very close to the main road, and it was tempting to the oppressors. They arranged for a plot to harm us, but we were united and well prepared. Now they tried to send people to pretend as witnesses so that they could set the camp on fire, to burn down the camp completely. But we had our own means of communication that helped us to know that this is not a witness, or he is one of Jehovah's Witnesses. We could just ask a man as he approaches the gate, Isaiah 43. He does not answer. Verse 10 to 12, we could know that he is not a witness.
I was known as 727 because of my hard work as an attendant
at Mlangeni, protecting all the brothers. I was working day and night, patrolling, without bothering about eating. That time we had 3 young children. As children, life was hard for them as well than it was before. However, we especially helped them spiritually. We taught them why we left our country, and some of them would understand because they were a bit older. So they coped with such lifestyle because we taught them that now this is our home, not the place we left. So they were happy. The living God Jehovah is supporting us, encouraging us. We do not fear during the ban. We do not fear youth. We do not fear nobody. Through the operation of Jehovah's Spirit, we had an assurance that this is indeed Jehovah's organization, and no one can stand against it, no matter how cruel it is. The society knew that if they sent us large copies of magazines, they were caught easily. So they were sending us the Watchtower magazine on a single paper in small print. Each one of us was feeling encouraged through studying that piece of Watchtower magazine so as not to shrink back. February. We used to deliver literature from Sindemisane in Zambia to designated points in Malawi. At first, we used to do this work during the night. We used to leave the place where we collected the literature at 9 o'clock in the evening, and we could travel all night long. We could reach our designated places in Malawi at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was a long distance. We could feel hungry, and we used to share the sugar cane that we used to carry on our bicycles. Fortunately, the society started producing special magazines with various of papers, which you could carry over 500 magazines in a carton because we were not having many problems in carrying them. All brothers were involved in this courier service. There were times when we were caught, some being sent to prison. We did not carry out this service in our own wisdom. It was Jehovah's hand that protected. Although we were holding assemblies during the night, when an assembly was announced, everyone was willing to attend. We would leave home at 8 o'clock in the evening and arrive at the assembly site maybe an hour later. Sometimes the assembly would finish at 5 o'clock in the morning. The others were so appreciative and to keep them going on that time of operation. That is why we are still alive today. It was because of the arrangements made by the faithful and the sacred slave to encourage us spiritually. Although there was a long distance to the meeting places, we were making sure to take all the children, and all of them were baptized during the ban. When the ban was uplifted in 1984, and we had a first district convention in 1985, which was held in Atlanta, it was like a dream. We shed tears of joy because nobody expected to have freedom of meeting in public areas. Now we are very thankful that we have freedom of worship and we are helping others spiritually. Now things are quite easy because the society has taken the responsibility of delivering literature. There are tracks that deliver them in various delivery points where brothers easily connect them for their respective congregations. It's just like water from a river flowing all over. We appreciate that Jehovah reserved us in helping our children, but 2 of them are in full-time service, and the other one is married and has children. It's a blessing too. So we appreciate very much for what Jehovah has done for us up to this time. To be honest, I appreciate very much the branch we have, because we never thought we would have a branch such as this one. Just look how beautiful it is.
Many are just saying that we are rich people, and they know it is a government. So it's true. It is God's government. God's government can't be poor. I just thank Jehovah, the God of mercy and the fulfiller of promises.
Our whole congregation is brimming with joy because of this new kingdom hall. I think of the time we used to walk at night to the meetings during those difficult years when we did not have a kingdom hall. But now, here we are, with our own kingdom hall. This fills us, yes, especially me, with joy. Time only could do to show appreciation when the brother gave a good talk was to rub our hands. That was a silent applause. Now we are free to applaud as loud as we can.
I am very happy that we have the Kingdom Hall. This great slave is building a Kingdom Hall for us. I am happy, and my Jehovah will praise
So, true worship triumphs in Malawi. Did you see your brothers and sisters? Faithful, rejoicing. Brothers, our brothers in Malawi have been through it all. And you know, the experience is one that reminds us of what Peter wrote at 1 Peter 1, verses 6 and 7. Let's have a look at this thought for our encouragement. Because as you know, Peter's first letter was written to Christians to encourage them, especially in places where the kingdom work was circumscribed in various ways. Now notice, after introducing his first letter there in chapter 1, he gets to verse 6 and 7. And this is so true of our dear brothers in Malawi. Verse 6 reads, "In this fact, you are greatly rejoicing." Did you not see that rejoicing? "Though for a little while at present, if it must be, you have been grieved by various trials or tests of faith, in order that the tested quality of your faith, of much greater value than gold that perishes despite its being proved by fire, may be found a cause for praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ." Now that scripture is very dear to the hearts of our Malawian brothers. They've been through fiery trials, and they've stood the test. The governors have noticed that they've been faithful for many, many years. Terrible atrocities have been brought to bear against them. And you know, the Society's publications in the 70s, 1972, 1975, 76, when the persecution flared up, authentically documented all these persecutions. These are things that the brothers don't brood over and say, "Oh, you know, when I was in the camp in Sinda Misale, they put a bicycle spoke through my knee and that's why I'm crippled today." No. They keep focused on Jehovah's kingdom. They are so positive. Man, He may be able to destroy the body, but they realize that their life prospects, their faithfulness and integrity and endurance belong to Jehovah God. And how thankful we are for that, because they've set the platform for our encouragement. Not so. It's so encouraging to see what has really taken place in Malawi. You know, when the ban was brought to bear upon Jehovah's people in October 1967, there was a small core of witnesses in that country. Now, Malawi is situated very interestingly. If you look at the Horn of Southern Africa, you have South Africa, which is right at the bottom. I'm from the country of South Africa. I was born there. Then above South Africa, you have Zimbabwe. You are hearing a lot of that in the news lately. Mugabe, he's doing his dirt there. Okay? Right above that, you have Mozambique, which is a vast country. Now, Mozambique is a country that looks like it has two arms. Looks like this if you look at the map. And those two arms catch in the middle the country of Malawi, which looks like a little caterpillar on the map. Next to Malawi, you have Zambia. You heard on the video that the brothers fled to Mozambique in the south and also to Zambia. In 1972, what Kamuzu Banda realized is that no, so many Jehovah's Witnesses have fled. Let me trick these people. I've given them time to buy my political party card. These people didn't want to buckle under that pressure. So let me try and get them back. What he did is he sent vehicles to Mozambique and also to Zambia, and he tried to lure the brothers back. Invite them to come back. And many did go back, because they're from Malawi. Why shouldn't they go back? But when they got back, well, then he turned the heat of persecution on 200% hotter. He really ruthlessly persecuted them. There were sickening stories that could be related. Some of them are documented in the 1999 yearbook. As a matter of fact, the 1999 yearbook had to be toned down in terms of atrocities. There are so many stories to tell. Brothers and sisters, and even if you've seen, as you've seen on the video here, some of them you could see there's something deeper that they really want to talk about. But let's not get involved in that, basically. That's the approach that they have. When you sit and listen to what these dear brothers and sisters of ours have been through, you will be amazed that they are still alive, they are still smiling, and that they are still integrity keepers, because many of us would have given up a long time ago. Now, you know, what is very interesting is that one of the greatest strokes of praise, when the ban was lifted in 1993, there were close to 18,000 witnesses when the ban started in 1967, I think it was, yes, and 29,000 when the ban was lifted. So during the years of the ban, the witnesses' roll increased by 10,000. And the academic world was focused on what was really taking place. So much so, in the main newspaper in Malawi appeared this article entitled, "Martyrs in Our Day." This was written by a professor of religion, Felix Chingota. He's at the University of Zomba in Malawi. Now, on the 3rd of March in Malawi, they have a public holiday which is called Martyrs' Day. And so every year, you know, they say, well, we really appreciate the freedom fighters that gave us freedom from the British colonial rule, and so the story went on. Dr. Felix Chingota got tired of this. One year, which was the year 1998, he posits this excellent article in the newspaper for everybody to read, entitled "Martyrs in Our Time." And I'd like to read you just a few paragraphs from this. This man is a theologian. He goes to the CCAP Church, which is the Church of Central African Presbyterian. Right? He's a lecturer. He studied abroad. Now notice what he says. In our times, an organized movement which has followed the tradition of the Maccabean martyrs are the Jehovah's Witnesses. The case of the Jehovah's Witnesses is special because a law was passed in Parliament in October 1967 banning the Jehovah's Witness movement in Malawi. Let it be mentioned that the suffering of Jehovah's Witnesses began in 1963. So he's done his research, he's predated it, and this is what he's put forth. Before the cabinet crisis in Malawi in 1964, this is when Kamuzu Banda came to the fore, right? After the enacting of the law, the persecution of Jehovah's Witnesses was intensified. The persecution took different forms. Some were killed by locking them up in a house and then setting the house on fire. Others were killed by pushing a big stick in the mouth to the stomach. One surviving member of Jehovah's Witnesses has testified that, this is a quotation, he and other Jehovah's Witnesses were beaten severely by the Malawi Young Pioneers, that's Banda's crazy youth league, for refusing the membership cards. His relative was killed on the spot for the same reason. He was cut into pieces as a demonstration to others to scare them, but they were not scared. The crime for which the Jehovah's Witnesses were accused was simply that they refused to buy MCP membership cards. This refusal had both religious and political implications. The Jehovah's Witnesses were law-abiding people in that they paid their taxes, but they refused to buy party membership cards. They distinguished between party and government. By refusing to buy membership cards, they indicated their choice for freedom to express their religious beliefs. A demand for such a right, if granted, would have implications. The issue now is, how shall we honor our martyrs? Question mark. There are a number of ways, and some are the following. Now imagine, this is a Martyrs' Day column, and this is what he writes. Now we need to honor these Jehovah's Witnesses who have died. They've been persecuted by a government which is now gone and past, and we don't want this government anymore. Anything that smells of NCP, we want it out of this country. Now we are left with a conscience. That's what he's saying. Firstly, the story of the martyrdoms of the Jehovah's Witnesses must be recorded. As a nation, we must come to terms with our past for at least two reasons. The past, regarding the gruesome death which the Jehovah's Witnesses suffered, should convict us of sin and guilt. From a Christian perspective, there is no real freedom unless a sinner makes confession, receives forgiveness. As a nation, we Malawians shared in the killing of the Jehovah's Witnesses, either by actually killing them or by watching them being butchered, as did Paul when he watched and consented to the martyrdom of Stephen. Moreover, by remembering this past, it will help to establish the rule of law. This past should help incumbent political leadership and future leaders desist from committing similar mistakes. Another possibility is that a national service of worship for repentance of the sins committed should be organized by the churches in Malawi. Imagine all the churches having a Jehovah's Witnesses We Are Sorry Day. It will be interesting. Eh? Then he continues, in conclusion, it may also be appropriate to consider erecting of a monument in honor of these martyrs. This may be erected at the Heroes' Acre, which is a very big place there in Lilongwe, with an inscription in memory and honor of fallen Jehovah's Witnesses. Glory be to God. Imagine that. Some streets have been named after some of our fallen heroes. It may be in order to name one or two after prominent Jehovah's Witnesses who perished during the 1963 to 1978 persecutions. Martyrs in our day. Brothers, people in field service still talk about this article. They know us very well. It's on their consciences. You go to field service in Malawi, people want to know, why do you people not vote? Why didn't you buy the party card? My neighbor was harvesting maize in his field, grabbed his 6 children, his wife, wrapped them with the chitenge, you know the wrap that they have, and fled to Mozambique. Our neighbor on that side fled to Zambia. Why? Stay there in a camp. People are getting to hear about the good news of God's kingdom. And then these neighbors come back. Yes, physically weak, but spiritually strong. Their faith in God's kingdom has been strengthened immeasurably, because in the camps there were meetings, there were conventions. The faithful and discreet slave class kept in touch with our dear brothers and sisters in Malawi. Now, you know, under the ban, what was very interesting is that they developed a different kind of theocratic terminology. For example, the society, right? And oftentimes we refer to the society as our mother organization. You've heard that term. Well, in Malawi under ban, the society was called uncle. So if you spoke of uncle, you're talking of the society. Very interesting term, uncle. You see, because in Malawian culture, when you want to marry, you don't take your father and your mother to meet the girl's parents or the boy's parents. You take your uncle, or what is called your young father, your father's brother. You take him along. And then her uncle sits there and these two negotiate, you see? So your uncle is a very important man in Malawian culture. So when you talk of uncle under the ban, you're talking of the Watchtower Society. Also, a book study group was called a club, from the Chichewa Kalabu. It's still called Kalabu. So on a Monday evening, you go to a book study. The brothers in Malawi to this day say that they are going to the club. Interesting. I can assure you there's no music and dancing there. Then, field service, the field was called a garden. If you're going to do field service in the camp, if you're speaking to people, oh, I'm going to the garden. So that was just another way of doing field service. But they had to develop their own theocratic terminology so that those who were spies on Jehovah's people, and there were many of them, as you can imagine, couldn't actually understand what was going on. You heard Brother Widas Madonna saying, you know, sometimes you meet a person, he looks like a brother, and all you'd say is, Isaiah 43? And if the person doesn't say 10 to 12, he's not one of Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what he said. So that's how you identify who's a real witness or not. Isaiah 43, 10 to 12. Ah, lovely, there we go. And so the story goes. And so by means of these very interesting codes, this is how they really communicated. Brothers, August 1993, Jehovah's victory came to the fore. And it has been held in high esteem ever since. That was the year when that government fell. A new governor came to power. He's Muslim. He's made it very clearly after the September 11 happenings here in the United States. He apologizes to the United States, but he supports his Islamic brothers. That's quite a brash statement for man to make. Denmark pulled out relief aid from Malawi after they heard that announcement. The British Isles wanted to pull out as well, but there are one or two things keeping them back. But this man has an appreciation for Jehovah's Witnesses. He loves Jehovah's Witnesses very much, but he loved the United States very much before that. So we don't know. And you know, in many of these African countries, you just don't know what can really happen. So at our branch, as you've seen, it's an amazing setup. Once you've worked in a country under ban, the society prepares you to run, basically. Because you don't know, things could change overnight. And so everything we do, be it financial records, be it records in service department, be it details about individuals in the field, we've got backup copies, we've got everything we need, so that if the work folds again or goes under ban, we will be covered. So we are using the best technology possible. That's why we need a branch in Malawi. And Jehovah has blessed us so much. Do you know in October 2001, we had 50,548 publishers. And I tell you, it will not be long when you'll hear we are 60,000, 70,000, 100,000. You meet people in the street. You know, even in South Africa, I've never had this experience. And people say, I want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. You look at this person and you think to yourself, you know what, you've got such a long way to go. But the desire is there. You know, sometimes we study with people and they look like they'll make ideal witnesses, but they just sitting on the fence. Not in Malawi. At a circuit assembly held from the 24th to the 26th of August 2001, 2 traveling overseers held back 25 baptismal candidates. Because even although the elders screened them, the society says, hang on, let's be sure that the people that are coming into God's organization are going to make it. You see, Spiritism is very, very big in Africa. If you've been to other parts of Africa, from South Africa up, you'll realize that Spiritism is a real problem. Brothers, even baptized individuals, sadly, will come to a meeting, they'll get onto the platform, give an assignment on the Theocratic Ministry School, and because their baby is sick, they'll go to a witch doctor for some medicine. It's as sad as that. Not everybody's involved in that. But sometimes you'll find little babies in the kingdom all running around and they've got a string around their waist. The parents have been to a medicine man. Ministerial servants in the congregation sometimes, giving a public discourse. You'll see this brother has a bit of a string around his waist here. And you just ask a couple of discerning questions and you realize that his family, who's not in the truth, has pressured him into going to a medicine man. Spiritism is a big, big problem. You have materialism here in the West and all the other problems. You know, we look at a watchtower and we see this thing, internet. What is this? Internet. Keyboard. What is this? It's so nice to have email now. It's a very nice thing. But you can imagine, put yourself, you see the kingdom all day, there's no lights, they have the meeting in the day. Now they read, beware of the internet, dangers on the internet. What is this internet? And now you have to explain, okay, there's this thing called a computer, it looks like this, and you know, and then they go, oh, and of course you know by the sound of that they haven't got exactly what you're saying. This is a foggy computer, so who is inside? You know, if there's something like this, there must be someone in. No. There's another part that you press with your finger. Oh man, it's such a story. Brothers, the challenges that you have here in the West are not the challenges that you see the brothers have there. But Satan's tool in Africa is Spiritism. Yes, he uses immorality and all the other sins as well. But Spiritism, very, very rife. So the next time you see that brochure, Spirits of the Dead, as a matter of fact, if you meet any person from Africa in field service and you feature that brochure to them, you'll see them take a very good look at that brochure because they know it's a real problem wherever they come from. And it goes right back to the village. You know, sometimes at a funeral people die. When someone dies, they have a custom. You must make a fire and you must take your blanket and have a funeral wake the whole night. We've had articles in Kingdom Ministries. There have been some issues in the Watchtower magazine showing that that is out. It's related to Satan worship. As Jehovah's people, we keep clean from those defilements. So that is a very, very real problem there. But notice what happened at this same assembly. There was a man named Duncan Kantambe. He was a former priest of the African Abraham Church who had 4 wives. Must have been a very happy man, eh? And he was his area's local political party representative. When a brother showed him Matthew 24 verse 14, this good news of the kingdom should be preached throughout the earth, he honestly acknowledged that his church was not doing the preaching work. Now that's the honesty that you have in Africa. A Bible study quickly followed. Joining in the Bible study was his first wife. Duncan put away his 3 secondary wives, legalized his marriage to his first wife, resigned in writing from his church and political organization, and did away with the religious paraphernalia of his former church. Now that is remarkable progress. How did others in his village respond to this dramatic change? The district overseer reports. All in the village left the African Abraham Church, and some of them have started attending the meetings at the Kingdom Hall. Duncan and his wife were baptized on Saturday at the district convention and are now themselves teachers of God's word. Can you imagine that? A priest leaving, everybody else leaves the church. Isn't that amazing? At another convention, experiences showed that witnessing wherever people may be found yields good results. One sister found difficulty in finding people at home since so many were at their fields working. The solution? To preach the good news of the kingdom from field to field. One man was approached as he worked in the field. Despite initially not wanting to hear the kingdom message because he was busy, the sister tactfully persevered and overcame his objection. This Catholic man agreed to a Bible study and shortly thereafter was joined by his wife in the Bible study. Both attended the convention. What is the zeal like of the young people in the congregations, of the congregations in general? Well, we have 63 circuits in Malawi. We have 4 districts. There are 812 congregations throughout Malawi. Just to give you an example of one congregation, in the last year, 6 brothers left that congregation and were accepted as members of the Malawi Bethel family. Imagine 6 from a congregation going to serve at the branch. Another brother, a ministerial servant and a special pioneer, has gone to the ministerial training school. 2 other special pioneers serving with this congregation have put in applications for the ministerial training school as well. In the congregation, they also have 6 regular pioneers. In addition to them, 2 auxiliary pioneers have submitted applications for regular pioneer service. 2 other regular pioneer sisters are putting in applications for Bethel service. And 2 other regular pioneers have applications in for special pioneer service. They have 1 Kingdom Hall construction servant and 2 international servants. In this congregation, 2 elders, 7 ministerial servants. Can you believe it? That's the zeal of the Malawian brothers. Brothers, these people have got nothing. They come to the meeting with a shirt that's torn sometimes. They don't see that. It's really amazing how poor they are. But they keep focused. They know that this system is going down. They're not concerned about being, having a suit or shoes or whatever they can. No, that's not their concern. Material things, money, forget it. They focus solely on Jehovah's kingdom. And it is beautiful to see. Faithful sisters, young ones, brothers in the congregation. Very, very fine. Of course, it doesn't mean to say that it's a country that's free from problems, theocratically speaking. As Jehovah's people, when we meet together, we have our problems too. But those are always handled with love. And of course, you can imagine coming up from under ban, Many of the congregations, the problem with many of the congregations is that they were ruled like they were a tribe. You have a chief in a tribe, and nobody can say a thing. The presiding overseer comes, then the meeting will start. If he comes at 3:30, well, the meeting starts at 3:30. Everybody sits and sings kingdom songs until he comes. So it's habits like that. But there were very interesting and loyal habits which had to be worked out because of the ban. Because there were prominent brothers, as you've seen here on the video, and these brothers and sisters of ours have really kept their faithfulness and integrity to Jehovah's organization. These men have led them very, very well. But now it's time to do things theocratically. And this is where the branch office is really helping our brothers. Many are being sent through the ministerial training school to aid congregations. Let me just read you an excerpt quickly from a kingdom ministry. When was the last time here in New Jersey you read this in connection with your district convention? Now, I believe you're going to have a district convention in July. Okay? Imagine now you're in Malawi and now you're sitting with this kingdom ministry and you read the following. You know how the kingdom ministry tells us, don't keep seats for other people who are not in your car group and all of that. Now notice, we don't have that in Malawi. We have the following. Without a doubt, the main cause of fires at conventions is not the cooking of food near the shelters, but the unsupervised children playing with or attending to fires. Fire at a district convention? Therefore, for your safety and that of your brothers, do not allow your children to walk around unattended. Do not put young children in charge of boiling water or in other ways care for the cooking fire. They may be able to do these things very well at home, but the convention side is different. An extra caution has to be taken so as to avoid accidents happening. Many people are living together and young children like to play games when they are with other youngsters. They are easily distracted and do not foresee danger. And for these reasons, we must not entrust them with candles, matches, or lamps. Imagine getting a kingdom ministry. Maybe it'll make an interesting thing here in the United States if they accidentally slip one of these through, eh? But you see, brothers, when the brothers in Malawi have conventions, they don't come to stadiums. They meet in a field. And there you see people coming to a convention, they have wood on their heads, they go in there and they realize, okay, for the next 3-4 days, this is where we are going to live. And they're carrying their baggage. In Chichewa it's called katundu. So you've got your katundu with you, right? The women put it on their heads. There they're carrying it. And on top of that you have the firewood. And of course at night, there the fires go. And there they're making the maize there in the pot. Similar to the grits, I think, that you have here in the United States. Eh? You eat that maize. Very nice. And they put that, very nice. They have a central plate, you know. And they put these little, they call them mtandas, right? These little clumps of maize there. And you just take one, you've got your plate there. And of course it's talking and the children are singing and running around and playing. And you take that and you take this in your hand, you throw it around a bit and you put it into your mouth. Man, I tell you, you're very happy. And then they've got other side dishes. They love fish. And they have fish there, and then they also have herbs. And they take that. It's a very social event. Now you can imagine why the directive is, don't leave children in charge of the fire. Because you know what parents do at home? They say, start the fire, I'll come just now. Right? Put the water on. I'm going to throw the maize in the pot. And of course children like to play, and children have been burned at conventions, unfortunately. So that just gives us an idea of what the sort of life is like even at conventions there in Malawi in connection with our brothers and sisters. But you know, the greatest victory that has happened for Jehovah's people in Malawi happened on May 19, 2001. The dedication of our brand new branch facilities. Brothers, I tell you one thing. I wasn't at Pentecost 33 CE. but I've been to the Malawi branch dedication. It was special. And we're going to have a look at this video now. I may just mention that when the international delegates came, what the brothers at the branch did, this is how enterprising they were, is they went to the airport officials and they arranged to play Kingdom Melodies cassettes there in the airport, orchestral music, to welcome the international visitors. Of course, here you can imagine KLM and Kenya Airways and British Airways landing, these groups of delegates coming from different parts of the earth. They get in the airport building to clear customs, and what do you hear? In Malawi, Kingdom Melodies, a day of victory for Jehovah. Then they were taken by special buses to our branch property, and our Bethel choir at a roundabout was ready in African garb, singing kingdom songs, a cappella, without musical accompaniment. I tell you, I saw very few dry eyes there. It was special. And the highlight, of course, came on the 19th of May when over 2,000 local Malawian brothers and sisters who had been persecuted for 40 years, in fact, many of them had endured the persecution for 26 years, and before that they were persecuted as well, but they had been in the truth for as long as that period, were with us at this occasion. They are the most appreciative audience I've seen in my life. The minute the speaker said something, they applauded. He said something again, they applauded. They were overjoyed. You'll see how this plays off on the video. Truly a day of victory for Jehovah. So let's have a look at this, and then we'll take it from there.
Kwa Yehova ndiponso ku dzina lake ndi in our foreign delegates, we would like to know how many of you actually had to flee Malawi in order to remain in the living on the land and to continue serving Jehovah. You had to do that. If you had to flee to one of these camps, would you please stand up just for one moment so we can see you? It's just amazing, brother. So that we can pray. I will not geographically proud of our brothers and sisters. I will just say that the fellow workers in Thessalonica, we take pride in you. Also, brothers, why do we actually have a better home, a beautiful better home, as you have seen already, and some fine branch facilities here in Lilongwe, Malawi? Is it not because of the endurance of our faithful brothers and sisters in Malawi? What would have happened? All these brothers, as we see here, many more with them out in the bush there, would have given in, would have compromised, lost Jehovah's favor. Would we be here today? Would we have a better in Malawi today? Would it have a new time in Malawi? So what do we say? We say what only people of Jehovah can truthfully say and correctly say. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Praise to Jehovah! Somebody Jehovah!
A day of victory for Jehovah. May 19, 2001. It was spectacular. Absolutely. And of course, that was just the first talk of a series of 5 discourses. The others went into the construction, and then they had a talk by the zone overseer, Brother Sebastian Johnson from Congo branch. And we had on hand with us Brother Guy Pierce of the governing body, who gave a very fine dedication discourse entitled Rejoicing in What Jehovah Has Created. Very, very good. And on the Sunday, the 20th of May, a special meeting was held in the capital city of Lilongwe, and many brothers traveled from near and far to attend that very special gathering. You know, what's interesting about Malawi is that the old people never leave the village. When you get old, from about 60, 65, you go to the village, and that's where you stay. You will stay there, and you'll never come to the city. The city is a bit too busy for them, although it's not really busy. It's just a market sort of scene. But the old people are always in the village. And what caught the public's eye on this occasion was to see these more than 2,000 people who were older in years, they'd been in the truth for 40 years, come to the city. And so many people wondered, but now what is really going on? Because as you know, in African society, the older you get, the more respect you get. And that's the way it really should be, even from God's Word, the Bible. And so many people were very surprised to find out that the society had paid for all these people to come from their different villages and to attend the branch dedication that was held on May 19, 2001. It was very, very special. So brothers, all around in Malawi, we are experiencing a very favorable season when it comes to preaching of the good news. The rain in Malawi has been very heavy for the last 2 or 3 years. You probably read in the Awake last year how the floodplains of Mozambique broke and burst because of the heavy rains that fell. And this is because Lake Malawi, which forms the eastern boundary of the country, is linked to the Great Rift Valley in Africa. And so when it rains there, man, it rains very heavily. I've never seen rain like that. And when things grow there, they grow so well. Mangoes like this. Avocados. You know, you cut an avocado and you wonder whether this is a jackfruit or some other fruit. You know, a big thing like this, man. Sugarcane, you know, that you can peel with your teeth and chew so that your gums really get going there. Very, very nice. Sweet potato, big, big, big. Cassava, oh man. Fertile soil, really very, very nice. Fish. You know, in South Africa, I never ever bothered about fish, although they have very good fish there. But in Lake Malawi, they have chambo fish, river fish. And I went to a Bible study in my 3rd week there, and this man put before me this chambo fish, and of course the greatest insult you can give to these people is to say, no thank you. So he makes me sit on the floor, which was the first thing that was very uncomfortable. He brings out this mat, sat on the floor, and he's got this nsima, or this maize, like your grits there, and he's got this chambo fish, and he tucks in, and oh man, and I thought to myself, now how do I communicate the fact that I don't really like fish? And I had to eat. And I tell you, after my 3rd mouthful, man, I was pure Malawian. As they say, Malawi, weni weni. Yeah? Real Malawi. It was so nice. And today, when they serve fish at the branch there, I tell you, I'm the first person in that dining room. Very, very nice. Very good. And that's just pictorial of how life really is. You know, malaria is quite a problem there. So the Bethel kitchen cooks with lots of garlic because mosquitoes actually hate garlic. I've seen a mosquito land on my skin and take off like a Concorde. It came and then off it went. And so, you know, instead of taking all these prophylactics, you know, these pills that like, you must take every Saturday, and so the story goes, and I realized, look, I'm assigned here. I can't keep on with this nonsense. So therefore, let me just, you know, take something more natural. And I tell you, garlic is the answer. My roommate has been eating garlic, 1 clove of garlic, for the last 10 years, and he's never had malaria. They believe that there are people with certain blood types that will never get malaria. That's a theory. But the society keeps encouraging us, those who've come from foreign soil, to serve on foreign soil. Don't take chances. It's a big problem. If you get sick, you're going to get very sick because our bodies just cannot keep up with the sicknesses there and the resistance to those diseases. But slowly but surely, you can see every year you get stronger and stronger, and you really seem to cope, you know. And so the mosquitoes, they think I'm real Malawian now too, you know. Anyway, so they don't really bother me that much. But when it comes to food shortages, there's tremendous famine in Malawi at the moment. You see, because the rain has washed away many of the crops, the brothers don't have food right now. So what our branch committee did in December and also in February is they alerted the chairman's committee of the governing body, and relief aid came to Malawi, which settled the problem very, very much. And we must thank you, brothers, very much for your contributions, because it's those contributions that have helped us in Malawi. Our brothers needed them very badly, and relief committees were set up, and everything was distributed to the brothers throughout the country. So thank you once again. We really appreciate that very, very much. The crop is growing very nicely now. They harvest the maize in May and June, so they will have food to continue. But of course, you know, you cannot depend on the elements. There are all sorts of things that are going wrong in the system, but it's amazing to see how Jehovah and his organization takes care of us. So that's a little bit as to what's taking place in Malawi right now. But the principal focus and the aspect that makes us very, very happy is that the kingdom work is moving ahead at a rapid pace. The Malawian person is a very humble, teachable person. Remember the watchtower that said, the old witnesses believed the 3 H's. If you're going to come into the truth, you need to be honest, you need to be humble, and you need to be hungry for the truth. You remember that? In Malawi, we've got 10.5 million people that are honest for the truth. They've seen false religion is serving them nothing. They are humble by virtue of who they really are, and they are hungry for the truth. Our magazines, our tracts, our brochures, they are all over Malawi, and the people are thinkers. So we're really experiencing a very, very good time in Malawi. Of course, this doesn't mean that every person that you speak to accepts the truth. No. There are still some that are really firmly entrenched to false religions. Some are tied up with Spiritism. Some have been to school in the West. And so they come back to Malawi, and so you have the very Western influence. But it's interesting to see how they realize that they are actually not Malawian anymore. Because a Malawian person is a very friendly person, very courteous, and they'll never really say no if you're a stranger. They'll always accord you with honor, with dignity, and especially when you bring them the Bible's message. Kingdom halls, as you've heard Jack Johansson saying, are mushrooming there. We've built now 338 kingdom halls throughout Malawi. People wonder, what are these buildings? We tell them, we haven't just built schools. We haven't just built hospitals. We're not channeling our energies into those directions like some other churches. We built this building. And what we do, we have a school to teach even the old people how to read and write. And once you can read and write, we'll teach you how to speak correctly, because now you can read and write. Oh, they are absolutely amazed about that. So preaching education is very, very big in Malawi. If you come to a Malawian's house and you say, we're coming to talk about studying God's Word, the Bible, come inside. There we go. That's it. Very, very encouraging to actually see that sort of response. And I believe that 2 students who just graduated from Gilead School have been assigned to Malawi branch as well. So now we have 36 missionaries in the country living in the 5 different missionary homes. And they're really going to be a great boost to the preaching work in Malawi. Brothers, all I can tell you is this. If you have never been to Malawi, if you have never been there and you've never done field service there, you've never tasted of Jehovah's goodness. Think about that. And we extend a warm invitation to welcome you. Come and visit. You know me there. You have a contact. Come and see for yourself. Many brothers, there's a couple, he's in service department at Patterson. John Barr is his name, just like the governing body brother, but he's of Japanese extraction, John and Pamela Barr. And they went in field service with me, and he turned to me and he said, Cyril, if ever Pam and I could accept a foreign assignment, we would want Malawi. He was so impressed. I couldn't pull this guy away from our Bible study. They just wanted to talk and talk and talk, and they were amazed. Many, many people. Here at the branch, Sister Jean Friend, Gary Bro, I believe he was an instructor here at your Kingdom Ministry School. They simply loved Malawi, him and his wife. They were there. And we had a wonderful time. All of that just points in the direction of theocratic expansion. People from other parts of the world have seen it. We're just waiting for Jehovah to bring in the harvest. So it was a day of victory for Jehovah. And all we can say, in conclusion, is that true worship is triumphing in Malawi. Thank you. So if you have any questions, we can entertain a few of them. Maybe there are things you've seen, some you've read, you've heard about. So feel free. We have a few minutes. Yes, sister on the left-hand side here. There we go. Yeah.
Do the majority of the Malawians speak English?
Malawi was called Nyasa land. Okay? This is when David Livingstone, the famous Scottish explorer, founded Malawi. And why it was called Nyasa land is because in Chichewa, that's the main language in Malawi, Chichewa, Nyasa, or as they say in Chichewa, Nyasa, means a lake. Right? So he found people living alongside the lake, and he called it Nyasa land. Right? The land of the lake, or the people living near the lake. following him came many other Scottish missionaries from Christendom, and they established mission schools, and they taught English as a first language. And throughout the country, when it was the colonial rule, English was the main language. But in 1964, with the cabinet crisis, when John Chilembwe fought for power, the black government came into power, and then Banda came into power, Chichewa became the main language. So many Malawians, particularly of the younger generation, understand English. Of course, those who live in the villages and in the outlying areas, especially those who had to flee to the camps in Mozambique and in Zambia, don't really understand English that well. But generally speaking, Malawians have a good comprehension of English. But they prefer to speak in Chichewa, which is a beautiful language. Every letter or every word in Chichewa ends in a vowel. Every word ends in a vowel. You know the 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U? Every word. So, hello, how are you? Muli Bwanji. Ndiri bueno, kaino. Ndiri buenonso. But you don't just say it. You look it. They reason with their eyes and they smile with their eyes. So when you say Muli Bwanji, the other person will say Ndiri bueno. There the hands come in and gives you like some type of applause. Right? And even the way you applaud too shows the person whether you are friendly or not. Ndiri buenonso, kaino, ndiri bueno. So that's how it goes, you see. So very much love in the hands, in the eyes as well. You know, in the West, what happens is you meet a person, you say, hello, my name is Cyril Goth. Ha, there we go, and you pull your hand away. Not in Malawi. They shake your hand and they'll keep your hand there, you know. They'll hold it there and all of that. And so the story goes, you see. You want to pull away, give me my hand back, you know. There we go. So those are some of the customs that are drawn from Malawian life. So yes, many of them do speak English. They prefer to speak Chichewa. Okay. Any other question? Brother?
Yes, I noticed in the video you say you explained this. I noticed your teeth are so white.
Yeah.
Why is that?
You know, if you chew sugarcane, you'll have strong white teeth. Did you know that? Sugarcane. Plant it. There you'll have it. Those people have got strong teeth. There we go. Yeah. So that's it. Very good dentition. Very white, as you've seen on the video. Very good. Sister?
Brother, I noticed in the last video, which
Yeah.
we enjoyed both videos,
Yeah.
but I was wondering how come we didn't see our brothers and sisters in that video?
Yeah. That was because the branch video, okay, focused only on the platform at the dedication. It was a very interesting setup, this arena. That was one of the shortcomings of the video in hindsight. Okay. You know, we were all so happy to listen. I think the technician that was supposed to turn the camera around didn't actually do that. He just focused it on there, you see. And unfortunately, those memories are etched in our memories, and those who have footage of that. It would have been so nice to see. That's why I got the earlier one, the lobby video, to show you the brothers and sisters at the Kingdom Hall and all of that. But it is a shortcoming of that particular video. But they wanted the dedication program to be video there, and all, especially when Jack Johansson said, now, how many of you fled for your... Man, you should have seen them stand up. And these are old people we're talking about. They don't stand up easily. They stood up. And then he even had to tell them, I don't know if you saw that, sit down, you know, and all of that. Because they're very obedient, you know. And we were dealing with transportation, and I tell you, these people are like sheep. You know, they'll stand in the middle of nowhere, and you can't hush them away or say, very kindly you have to say, okay, there's the bus. Oh, there's the bus. Because they're not used to that, you see. And so very kindly you have to help them along and all of that. But once one goes, once there's a leader, they'll go. Oh man, they're very loyal, they're very faithful. And sing. A man phoned the branch office from the market in Lilongwe and said, your people are here. Can you hear them? And they were singing kingdom songs. That's how they identified themselves. They had these little badges. Many of them couldn't even read their very own names. Many of them have never been to school. They're going to the literacy classes at the Theocratic Ministry School. It was faith strengthening. Absolutely. They toured the Bethel complex singing. I have never, ever seen something like that in all my life. It was special. And so, I don't know if arrangements are made to capture that footage, but for the dedication program, they didn't swing their camera around, which was a bit of a disappointment. You're right. Fine. Any other thoughts? Brother...
Yes, also getting back to that dedication, did they give a count of the number of publishers that was there?
Yeah, there were 2,000, more than 2,000, who had been in the truth for 40 years. Okay? So that's the number that they had, more than 2,000. And they worked through circuit overseers. What they did, these people have got nothing. So to get from the village, right, down in the south of Malawi, right up to the top, what happened is the branch committee and the dedication committee planned, okay, these people will arrive here and sit on our doorstep from Wednesday, and the dedication is Saturday. That's how they are. They will leave on Sunday after their meeting, and they'll travel to come early. And they'll just sit. They're content as long as they're there. So there were 3 hostels, big hostels, that we got ready for them. And they started coming on Wednesday and Thursday, and they started pouring in on Friday. It was amazing to see. And they came, and they came, and they came. And they old people. Some of them had walking sticks. You can see the bark of a tree, a bent, gnarled walking stick that they had, And it was so faith-strengthening to see, honestly. And I just stood back and I thought to myself, this is truly amazing. These were people that we were writing letters for. Remember in the 60s when the society encouraged us, write to the government, write letters. These were our dear brothers and sisters that were standing firm. Flint-like faces. Happy, joyful. You shake their hands, they look at you, teeth missing in their mouth, but joyful, absolutely. And when they sang, the program ended at about 6:30 that evening. They sang, they didn't have a note in front of them. They sang song number 56, Bravely Press On. There was a song conductor on the stage and he led them, and I tell you, it was vociferous, the way that volume came over. It was incredible. Oh, it was absolutely special, special, special. Really it was. Lovely. Okay, fine. Brother Williams?
Yes, you say they were very, very, very poor.
Yes.
They were joyful and happy. And if we wanted to help them, what would be the best way if we want to help them materially?
The best way is just to keep supporting the Society's regular contribution arrangement. Because Brooklyn determines, based on what Malawi says, right, the needs are. And so that's the best way to really do it. In the Watchtower, especially in the Watchtower magazine, you read how relief efforts have helped brothers in different countries. And so that is how we can show our appreciation as well. Right? Things, when you mail them to Africa, there's so much pilfering in the mail. You get packages that are open, they're like this, they're like that. Don't take chances. We have a mother organization, we have Spirit-anointed men right here on earth, right here in your country. They have their finger on the pulse. So keep supporting God's organization. And as the Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, it's an equalizing. And the brothers on the governing body and those working along with them, they know how things need to be balanced out. So that's the best way that we all can help. And of course, individually, we can help with our prayers as well. You've prayed a long time for brothers in Malawi. And you know, the brothers in Malawi pray for the brothers in other parts of the earth as well. For example, when they were going through the ban, they'll tell you, they heard reports of how Jehovah's Witnesses in Germany kept their integrity under against the Nazi regime. So that served as an encouragement for them. So it's really an interchange of encouragement, which we read about in Romans chapter 1, verses 11 and 12. Okay, fine. Brother Jamal, maybe we can have this as our second to last question. There's one more after this.
What effect has the Gilead, Watchtower Gilead and Watchtower Gilead MTS class had in the expansion of the country there in Malawi?
Tremendous impact. Absolutely undeniable impress. Gilead has sent many couples, and 7 of the Gilead missionaries are serving as circuit overseers. 3 of them are serving as district overseers. The Ministerial Training School has sent 28 graduates from its classes in Southern Africa to Malawi. And 23 of them are serving as traveling overseers, circuit overseers. 4 in the branch, and 1 is a special pioneer. So you can see the very good impact that this has really had on the work there. And one of the main things that the society, the branch committee in Malawi is concerned about is introducing theocracy into the congregations. In other words, meetings must start on time, right? Field service meetings must be handled according to this way. You know, you speak to the brothers in Malawi and they look at a kingdom ministry sometimes and they say, you know, I never ever knew that this paper was so good for field service. But you see, under ban, they didn't have a kingdom ministry. You see? And so it's that sort of mindset that is being worked against. And the brothers are being helped to see that there are theocratic ways, procedures, and policies that need to be followed. Right? And this is the main emphasis that the Ministerial Training School, as well as Gilead School, has provided. As a matter of fact, I can say that the Ministerial Training School has really helped Malawi the best, because there you had men who are traveling overseers and special pioneers. They've been with congregations, and we've seen evident growth and Jehovah's blessing from those areas where they've really been working. Yes, brother?
I have another question in your video. I noticed the Napoleon is the same Napoleon that you have here and in some of the other societies. Is that shipped to Malawi? Is that shipped to the country, the Napoleon?
The what?
Napoleon is the Napoleon that you have in front of you.
The podium?
Yes.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. No, they made it there.
They made it there?
Yeah, they made it in Malawi. Yeah. So, they're very good wood in Malawi. Mulanje cedar, you know, Mulanje mountain, the cedar wood, very hard. The Malawians say it never breaks. Very, very good wood. They're very good with their hands as well. They carve very well. And so some of the international servants, the construction workers, showed some of the local brothers how to make Kingdom Hall furniture. You see? And so this is how all of that comes in. But it's made from materials right there. Excellent. Very, very good. You know? So they're very skillful. You know, there's an expression that says, while knowledge comes from Europe, wisdom is from Africa. A philosopher posited that. And basically, if you look at many of the fables, you look at the various ways of doing things, there's lots of wisdom tapped into all of that. You know, in the April 15 Watchtower, we were chatting about this the other day, there's a story from Benin about a man who went fishing, but it became hot, so he went home to play with his kids. And another man came, a Westerner came and said, well, you know, why are you having this sort of life? Why don't you, invest in money, you can be rich. And then this man said, and then, yes, and you can have companies, and then, well, you'll have enough money, and then, well, then you can play with your kids, then you can come home and sleep and all of that. But the point is, he's doing that already, without all that worry. You see? So the wisdom is there. That's just the point. So you can read about that in your April 15, 2002 Watchtower. And so that's where many of these fables have very good wisdom tapped into them. But brothers, the bottom line is this. True worship is triumphing in Malawi. Jehovah's people are having a favorable season. The brothers in Malawi love you very, very, very much. You've seen their faces. You've seen how they wave with their hands, both hands. Chikondi chirimanja. Love is in the hands, they say. They send you their warmest love. They think about you. They pray about you. And you know, especially since September the 11th, the media has carried what has happened there. And many people, even those who live in the outlying areas, know, yeah, big things have happened in the United States. And our brothers, they're always concerned about the brothers. So you're very much in our prayers. And as Jehovah's people, we need comfort, we need refreshment, just as our year text says. So, keep this in mind. The brothers in Africa, in Malawi, love you very, 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 very much. They think about you, they pray about you. And what they want you to know is that united, we are going to work together. You know, when the doors of the new world swing open, a large percentage of Jehovah's earthly family will come from Africa. You'll see that. There will be people from every tribe, tongue, and nation. It's there. Revelation 7 verse 9 tells us that. They are survivors. And for those who fall asleep in death, well, they look forward to being raised in Jehovah's new world of righteousness. To meet us, to be educated, something that the Malawians love. Yes, true worship is triumphing in Malawi. Fine, so let's stand and conclude with another very favorite song of our Malawian brothers, song number 57, Jehovah's Happy People. And then we'll conclude in prayer.